People lie to themselves. You don't actually want to do this.
It's the most misunderstood word, phrase, role that exists. First off, you're wearing multiple hats. How do you know when to hire? Well, you know, what's a P&L? How do we overtake our competitors? What makes us different there? How do we get our customers to give us case studies? What type of technology are we using? Is the internet fast enough because we're selling over Zoom? All of this stuff matters because infrastructure is what people invest in. I don't need you to invest in me. I need you to invest in the infrastructure that I've built. Okay, I want to have a birthday dinner. I'm gonna have my 6 closest friends here. And my 6 closest friends, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put together for the bill, we're gonna have dinner. We're going to our favorite restaurant.
I like it.
Why don't we do this with business?
Or what advice would you give someone who feels like that they don't have the skill sets right now for the place that they want to be in? If you're confused about the language of business, but you're yearning to learn, today's guest offers a breadth of business experience that will surely elevate your understanding of business and your money. Join us for an incredible conversation to increase your knowledge and what it will do for your business. Nigel Sydnor is a former college basketball star who has transitioned from the court to the boardroom. Today, he excels in real estate and e-commerce, where his strategic vision and competitive drive are key to his success. Nigel's journey into Amazon e-commerce has added a new dimension to his business ventures, showcasing his ability to adapt and thrive in diverse markets. With the knack for capital raising and equity deals, he's reshaping investment landscapes and creating impactful opportunities. Nigel, thank you for being here.
No, I appreciate that. That sounds really lovely.
Thank you. I try. So, y'all, funny story. I may or may not have poached Nigel from my COO's podcast. I had the privilege of listening to y'all's conversation when I was producing his for The Disciplined Man. See, I'm nice. I'm being nice. I'm shouting out your podcast. And the conversation that you all were having was, I mean, you guys were talking about the disciplined man and what it means to be disciplined in sports.
Yes.
And the transferable skills that you learned from sports and now into business. And I know you talked about it in his podcast, but for my audience that may not know you, talk about what it was like, that transition, and what skills you were able to transfer from sports into entrepreneurship.
Yeah, I mean, I've dedicated so much of my life to sports, right? And I think that the disciplined man is really the way that I've identified throughout my whole life, right? So whether it was waking up early in the morning, preparing for my day as a prospective college athlete at the time, and running the extra mile or studying extra, right?
Yeah.
My coordinate, or when I was in high school, what was expected of me was that we would work out before school, we'd occupy and go through the school day, be as successful as possible, then we'd have study hall. As I transitioned from, and I didn't say this on the last podcast, but as I transitioned from a public school, predominantly African-American public school, then due to the ability to play sports and play basketball, I went to a predominantly white high school, right? So you go from 97% African-American to 97% white, people that don't look like you, really waspy families. I found myself to be really, really out of place. I was told that I wasn't the best reader. I was told that I couldn't really, my academic status was not up to par. But due to my abilities to play sports and contribute in those ways, they gave me another shot and they stuck with me.
Since you mentioned it, I actually want to add a little piece here. So for me, I have a politics background. I was a stay-at-home mom. I built my business post-divorce. And now going from just an influencer to working in VC and being an LP in multiple venture capitals, working with, billion-dollar PE funds, and now building my own portfolio. It's fascinating to me to go from a space where I felt like I didn't belong, where I didn't really have a seat at the table, or felt like I didn't, or that my experiences were so unique to me that how could it possibly work for you if it's your academic status isn't up to par? For me, it's I went from a stay-at-home mom to just an influencer to now, building the 7-figure brand. What was that transition like, or what advice would you give someone who feels like that they don't have the skill sets right now for the place that they want to be in?
Yeah, so I got lucky, right? I really equate my success to luck. Do I work hard? I work extremely hard because that's all I know. But the fact of the matter is, my dad dropped me into a room and said, "Hey, look, you're going to thrive in this community." This is a room that he's never had to be in, but he understood because of the wherewithal and the people that he may have admired in his life, right? And he said, "Hey, look, why don't I put you in this community? I know you're smart, I know you're talented, I know you're charismatic, and I know you work hard, so you'll figure it out." So those were the pillars that really carried me in those rooms, where it was, hey, look, whether or not I have the answer,
Yeah.
I have the personality to go ask and go get more information. I have the personality to then work with my coaches, whether that's before practice or after practice, to get better as an athlete. Take that same mentality into the classroom.
Yeah.
Get to class a little bit early. Hey, ask your teacher to stay 30 minutes late. And that math equation that you put on the board, I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Can you walk me through and show me and guide me with one-on-one coaching, which is the same thing we do in sports?
Which actually leads me to another question where the number one thing that I realized is people will say, "Oh my gosh, I want to work with you. Can you give me advice? Can you mentor me?" I would say honestly, 99% of people just don't ask.
Yeah.
People literally just do
Good
not
point.
ask
Yeah, that's a good point.
for help. They don't ask. I have so much knowledge, which is also why I started the podcast, is with everything that I've experienced and the knowledge that I have and my friends who have their own experiences in entrepreneurship. Most people do not go ask for mentorship, and if they are, they're actually asking wrong.
Yeah.
And their approach was wrong, which is what we were just talking about.
Totally.
If someone wanted to work with us, for example,
Totally.
what would be the way to approach Nigel? Because I know what my approach would be.
Yeah, it's funny. So my business partner and I, we chatted about this yesterday because we have a mutual friend that's currently looking for a position into a real estate development firm outside of ours, right? And you know, as we guided and walked them through how we would approach the situation was, we would research the person inside and out. We would look at some of the different projects that this person has completed. We'd understand the different neighborhoods and why they did things the way that they did those things. And then going back to another anecdote, which I watched yesterday, which was a person had the opportunity to have lunch with Warren Buffett. They said the number one thing they took away from that lunch with Warren Buffett was really simple. Warren Buffett was very curious. He asked questions. He did research. By the time that lunch ended with Warren Buffett, they realized that Warren Buffett received more value because he asked more questions than they asked him. And they said, well, what did I actually get from this? But what they really understood was the mannerisms and the way that he thinks and the way that rich and wealthy people think, where they're constantly looking to learn.
I find in my experience, at least from the people that do come to me and they'll say, hey, I'm a graphic designer, I want to do this for you. Or, hey, I want to work for you, I know that I can add value to your team. And we were just talking about this as well. If you are someone who's looking to work with either Nigel or myself or anyone on my team, if you are someone who you're finding a different mentor and someone that you want to be coached by or someone you want to work with, something that I do want to make sure that I make of note is if you come to me in particular and you say, Sarah, I want to work for you and I know that I can add value to your team, don't do that.
Yep.
Not because it's not true, but how could you possibly know what value I need if you've never asked me?
Correct.
How would you know what value you can add to Nigel's business, even if you're shadowing? Because the reality is you're in my way.
Correct.
If you're trying to figure out what gap you can fill for me.
Yep.
And make sure if you are someone who's looking to, let's say, work with Nigel on the real estate side or with me or my team, find the thing that's missing, study that person, figure out what it is that they're doing. Okay, Nigel, you are, which we'll talk about a little bit later, you know, you're working on something in Baltimore.
Yep.
Sure, go learn about what's happening in Baltimore and then how you can fill the gaps and add value to that person. If you see that I have a guitar behind me, I can't play guitar, but you know how to, you can do lessons, teach me in the place that you think that I'm going to need value in. And I want to wrap that back around because with coaching, it's 30 minutes in the morning, it's 30 minutes of asking for help, it's not having an ego. The reality of entrepreneurship is we are entirely based on relationships.
Yep.
You can't really have an ego in this space.
No.
So for you, you moved over from, and the way that, you know, we met is with your Amazon e-commerce and then with real estate as well. Talk to me the jump from being an athlete to real estate.
Teams. The jump from, you know, being an athlete that I've learned very early in my career was teams and the importance of teams and the importance of roles and having defined roles. I've had the privilege of being the team captain on every team that I've been on, especially in college with the exception of my freshman year. And having that opportunity, what I needed to understand was what would make you tick. Let's just say you're the best shooter on the team. Why are you the best shooter on the team? How do you prepare? What do you watch? How do you hold the ball, right? And then going to the coaching piece that we talked about 30 minutes or 30 minutes with the coach, being able to spend that 30 minutes with you in the gym.
Yeah.
I'm shadowing you without shadowing you. I could be rebounding for you and passing you the ball and seeing where you like the ball, seeing where you like to shoot from on the floor. I'm looking at all of these different ways to understand and be very self-aware of myself and say, okay, here are some of the things that you do really well. How can I mimic that and bring that into my game?
Let me take a step back for a second. You go into real estate.
Sure.
Let's say I'm a gentleman, I'm a woman, and I want to go into real estate.
Yep.
It's a very daunting task. Where do we start? Who do we ask? And what is not necessarily the easiest way, but what are the first steps that we would take in order to go into real estate? And who do we talk to in order to do that?
So I can actually tell you the easiest way.
Okay.
So the easiest way is the path that I've taken. Now, what I did was I honed in my skill set outside of real estate, and then I was able to bring in those skills to the real estate firm that we have today. In my case, in particular, my business partner was also my 7th grade best friend. I didn't know his dad was a real estate developer. His dad developed real estate for 40 years. His dad had an appraisal business for over 30 years. My case study more or less was, yes, we were athletes on the court, but we went through some of the most daunting tasks of being teammates, being about the same height, also competing for the same scholarship on the same team wearing the same jersey.
My goodness.
So we've gone through quite a bit of the tumultuous points that you could have in a relationship well before the money and everything started to happen. So my journey into real estate more or less was, okay, he restarted his family's real estate firm. He wanted to be a real estate developer, but he knew that he needed to understand the value of real estate before we could actually buy real estate and develop real estate. So what he did was, when he came back from college, we went to the same college, right? So we had the privilege, middle school, high school, college.
That's one hell of an evolution.
Right. Like two completely different people, right? Having to learn what really makes each other tick. But I was a point guard, he was a shooting guard. So I was already used to passing him the ball. So what I did was I was self-aware and I understood my role. He understood his role, which was a scorer. His job was to put points on the board, which is, in this case now, find us really great projects that I can pass my investors into these projects to be able to make us all money.
It's so fascinating to me because I have watched entrepreneurs destroy their careers because of their egos.
Yep.
And I have watched entrepreneurs and founders also destroy their companies by placing the wrong people in positions that they didn't belong in.
Totally.
Especially when working with friends.
Yeah.
So I have a rule, which I know you'll disagree with. I don't work with friends.
Yep.
If it's business that turned into friendships, then it's fine.
Yep.
But I don't work with people that I know. What is the most challenging part, and how can we overcome the working with friends and family? Because I don't play that.
Yeah, I think the most challenging part is that we've done it for so long. Like I've known him since this guy's he was 12 years old. I'm 31 years old today.
It's crazy.
I've known him for over 20 years. So I know his family. I know what makes him tick.
Yeah.
I spent times with him when it was really tough, right? Our families have both gone through really difficult financial times, right? I was there when he had his first kid and his second kid, and he's now adopted kids. I was there when he got married. We have real relationships, and what you'll hear, the key to my success has been intentionality, right? If there's a birthday party for your son or for your wife or for yourself or for your dad or for your, his wife's 30th birthday was 2 years ago. I live in LA. I flew to Baltimore to make sure I'm present for his wife's 30th birthday. But I do that for all of my investors. I make sure that I play an intricate part in your life.
It's I think about how I've evolved in my own career. People have made room for me and have given me a seat at the table. Yep. And obviously there's a lot of hard work. I think it's Guy Raz on How I Built This that
Love
asks at the end, like, is it hard work or luck? And there is something to be said about needing both.
Sure.
But I know for me, the all-encompassing has been building intentional relationships, because like we said, I don't have a financial background. I don't
Right.
have a PE background. I don't have a VC background. I don't have a lot of the traditional experiences that people would have for the roles that I hold.
Yep.
And so I was telling you, for me, my new role, which I guess I'm announcing now, is I'm going into real estate development.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. But brother, this is very different than buying a home. It's
Completely.
very different than buying a real estate, like a single family home or
Sure.
even like a 4-unit. To me, I thought that was daunting, but I could wrap my head around it, right? It feels more realistic. But how do we go buying our first property, and where and how do I raise capital in order to go there?
Yeah, so I want to go back to what you just said. You said, is it luck or is it, what was the other one?
Yeah, is it hard work or luck?
Is it hard work or is it luck? In our case, I think like it's been an element of both. So when we bought our first property, my business partner being an appraiser, he's really weird, right? What he does is this guy reads like
And people
zoning
don't like
codes.
appraisals.
Yeah, right.
They're not really the most liked people.
Because people don't like the truth,
Uh-huh.
right? So this is what your value is. Here's what needs to be changed. Here's what needs to be improved.
Yep.
In our case, with our first property, what we did was we saw a single-family home that millions of people have driven by pretty much every day. I'm pretty sure they drive by it every day. We bought a single-family home for $185,000. The single-family home sat on 1.84 acres. It's zoned for us to develop 65 units.
Wait, what?
We bought a single-family home on 1.84 acres, which is zoned, I think it's C2 zoning, for us to be able to build about 65 units on that property. So we're in the process of bringing that property to permit, and we're going to build a $20 million property on a piece of property that we paid $200,000 for. So you can do cost per unit, and that the cost that we buy it, we typically buy anywhere from about $2,000 to $10,000 per unit.
Yeah.
That's our business model. Why? Because we have an appraisal background. We get a lot of off-market deals. We have the ability to see something that someone may not see the value in,
Yeah.
but because we know zoning, because we know our business inside and out, we now know where to place capital.
If Sarah doesn't know where to begin and she's listening, what are the 2 things you would tell her to do if I wanted to do that?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I can tell you what my business partner does. He's read every single book that's ever been made about real estate. Why? Because this is not something that we look at today at 30 years old, 31 years old, that we want to get rich quick. We see this as an opportunity for the next 100 years.
Yeah.
How can we have impact, right? When we look at our business model, yes, we want to go into areas that are very, call it on edge, right? So what he always says is, because his dad has a background in the oil business, is that you don't clean an oil spill from the middle. You clean it from the edges. So we go right on the edges of where the oil spill is. Decent distance from the highway, very close to hospitals, places that young professionals would want to go and live in. What I just described was Wynwood in Miami 10 years ago.
Yeah.
That's our business model.
Huh. If I'm someone who, okay, I hear you, Nigel. I got that part. Do I need the cash? Or do I go to a bank? Or do I raise capital?
So each deal is different. It's the best answer I can give you. Each deal is different. Our business model is that we use time to our advantage. So we've learned that in real estate, using time to your advantage allows you to put the best portfolio out there. We're long time buy and hold. We're in no rush to sell. It's still 31 years old. We can keep these properties for the next 50 years that pay us every single month, and we're creating value. So our model, and of course, we're talking about $200,000 that we had to place into this deal. We bought cash. Why do we buy cash? We bought cash because we wanted to use time to our advantage. We bought this one almost 4.5 years ago now, slated to break ground Q1 of 2025. Why did we do it this way? Well, the interest rates were fluctuating, right? The unit mix that we want to make sure that we perform needed to be one that we felt was pretty equitable. And we take a grassroots approach. I always like to use Barack Obama as an example, but I'll just talk a little bit more about our grassroots approach, which is more or less, can we walk in the community? How many hours can we put in walking with the community? Instead of just standing up a building and disappearing and saying, hey, look, this is what we're putting in your community, we want to hear from you. So when we enter communities, we want to bring in resources. We want to bring in impact. So in this property in particular, what we're doing is we're putting a garden in the community. Why? Because we believe that food should be free. And food should be an area where people can come together and build community around.
Yeah.
So we have a rooftop garden that we're putting in this community that individuals in this community can now have these resources, and now they can commune. And what my dad used to always say is that we're putting the neighbor back in the hood, building neighborhoods, because in our communities, what we typically call it is we call our neighborhoods the hood. We're building neighborhoods, we're building community, we're building impact.
Yeah.
So when we spend our time in the community, we're taking a QR code. We want you to give us some input. Okay, when we stand this up, what type of restaurant, what type of cuisine would you want for us to put into your community?
Yeah.
Do you need a cafe? What type of resources are missing, right? We don't want to keep doing liquor stores, check cashing, churches.
Right.
What's this community missing? What type of research have we done, and what do we have within our network that we can bring as far as our skill set to these different environments?
We live in a microwave society.
Yeah.
And people want to flip houses and do rich quick schemes.
Yep.
Real estate is not that. You will
Not at
burn
all.
through capital,
Yep.
and you will burn yourself out, and you will end yourself like dead in the water
Yep.
with a real estate deal if you don't play the long-term game.
Correct.
What are some misconceptions about going into real estate, and why are those misconceptions so dangerous in a quick scheme?
Yeah, I think that with the microwave society, with social media, right, you see these people that have said, hey, look, I bought this house at $300,000, I sold it at $550,000. It took me 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. That's really attractive. I think we'd all like to be able to turn, a profit 30, 60, 90 days, $250,000. Hey, look, I'm done for the year. I've done what I need to do. The fact of the matter, and what we've done an unbelievable job of, is finding investors that want to solve the same problem that we want to solve, right? So there's people that we know, and again, that's why I equate so much of this to luck, right? Because I went to a technology college called the New Jersey Institute of Technology. The people that I went to college with now work at Microsoft, Amazon, Google. They make a lot of money,
Yeah.
right? They're making $250,000 very early in their career. They now have disposable income where they can give us $30, $40, $50,000 to place in the projects that we can now buy the project, buy the land, and then use time to our advantage to make sure that we can grow the value of this project over time. We can buy projects that aren't necessarily shovel ready because we have patient capital. We have people that understand our vision, our goal, and our mission, right? So when you look at a lot of the house flipping, which I'm not knocking the business, some people have done really, really well in that business. It's just not the business I'm in.
Yeah.
So I like to be sequential, and I think as a team, we're extremely transparent, the good, the bad, the ugly, right? We take the principles from business where we see the quarterly reports and quarterly earnings. We do the same analysis on each project. Each project is its own business. Each project has its own management team. Each project has its own LLC. Each project has its own group of investors. They're treated as they are the most important piece of this project, because without them, we wouldn't be able to do our jobs.
I think there's something to be said about, and I'm going to make this even a little more, I don't know if basic is the right word, but scale it back for a second. What I really, really love is the fact that you said every single project has its own team,
Yep.
has its own investors.
Yep.
When it comes to content creation and early entrepreneurs and early founders, one of the things, even with some of the clients that come to us, and some that my team and I have chosen not to take on, is the fact that they don't understand that you do need a team,
Yeah.
you need a system, you need an LLC, there has to be a growth strategy for what you're doing. And even as a creator, if you are not operating as an LLC, you are not a business.
No.
If you are a creator and you're taking money and you are wanting to monetize, you need to have an LLC.
Correct.
If you think that even with free gifting and you get these free gifts and like, oh, it doesn't cost me anything, it's free. No, because when you get hit with the W-9, because it's a tax write-off for that business,
Yep.
at the end of the year, you're going to be hurt when you get this tax bill.
Yeah.
And so you truly, truly, truly have to understand that even, let's say, if you're flipping a property or you're wanting to go into real estate, don't do it under your own name.
No.
Is that a recommendation that you have? I don't do it that way. Like for each of these new projects that I'm entering, they are under my holding company. They're not under Sarahhood.
Correct. Yeah, structurally, so the way that we structure is the actual property itself is an LLC, and then we also give our investors the opportunity, if they would like to invest through an LLC themselves, that they've created their own entity, they can also do so.
Okay.
So ultimately, we have many LLCs directed up to the actual property LLC.
And I was telling you earlier, so this is for someone listening. I started the first time with an SPV, which is a special purpose vehicle.
Yep.
I didn't have 50 grand to put in,
Yep.
but there was a few people where we all pulled in, and some folks put in 5 grand a piece, and we figured out how to get this money in there, or 10 grand a piece, whatever it is that
love where you're going.
we chose to do. One of the things that our counterparts do, and if you're not familiar with the PayPal mafia, go look it up, go figure out what they've done.
Yeah.
So a whole bunch of guys, all I think white and a few Asian men, but a bunch of men came together. They started an SPV. Everyone put in X amount of money
Yep.
and invested in PayPal. And from this group came Square, came Elon Musk with Tesla,
It's
SpaceX.
still coming.
They're, with LinkedIn, the founder of LinkedIn. There are so many of them, and there's a sense of group economics
Sure.
that we don't really have in our community. And I think we sometimes really complicate the process of, I don't have 100 grand, Nigel, to put into money. I don't have 50 grand to put into this project. Can we talk about the process of why creating an SPV or doing group economics to create this kind of impact? Because everyone says, I want legacy and I want to build Black Wall Street and I want to do Tulsa, but we don't know how to have group economics.
That's
Can you talk
exactly
about
right.
that? Can you walk me through what that's like?
So I stand a little different than what you say, because I think we do know how to do group economics.
Sure.
I'm going to tell you why. Typically what happens is when we want to go on this beautiful vacation,
Yeah.
we use group economics.
We sure do.
We do it every time, right? That's exactly what we do.
Facts.
We
You're
all
not wrong.
We start a group chat.
Yep.
And we say, oh my God, I have this beautiful idea. What we're going to do is this.
Yeah.
We're going to go to Cabo. We're going to get this beautiful house. We're going to go here, here, and here. This is what it's going to cost. So $1,000 per person. Okay, I want to have a birthday dinner. I'm going to have my 6 closest friends here. And my 6 closest friends, what we're going to do is we're going to put together for the bill, and we're going to have dinner. We're going to our favorite restaurant.
I like it.
Why don't we do this with business? Why don't we do this in real estate? Why don't we say, hey, look, in 2025, I do business with friends. Remember, I told you that.
Yep.
Right? In 2025, I'm gonna
I
put
am
my,
friend, by the way.
see what I'm saying? This is why we do it this way.
Yep.
In 2025, and I actually have this vision. Someone's going to take it because there's like Invest Fest and all this other cool stuff.
Yeah.
But like, why are we not having like a networking dinner? Regulation D, where
I'm
you
doing
can
it
have,
in September.
there we go. You see what I'm saying? We have like 35 investors because due to Regulation D, 35 people can invest in an actual project entity. And
I'm building it out right now.
You see what I'm saying? And we just show it on the screen and we say, hey, look,
Yep.
this is what you have access to.
Yes.
Because you know Sarah,
Yep.
you now have access
Yep.
to having ownership in this. See, I worked for a private equity company in the past called Realty Mogul. And at Realty Mogul, they're raising billions of dollars. And what's happening is people are like, they're placing blind bets. They don't know anything about real estate. I was on the investor relations team, and what these people are doing, these high net worth individuals are saying, hey, look, I want to write a check of $50,000 into this $20 million project. And whether that project cash flows or if it's going to refinance in 3, 4, 5 years, or if you guys are going to sell it in 10 years, I'm okay giving you my $50,000.
Yep.
We can and will, moving forward,
Yeah.
bring these opportunities to our community. Because I think that the fact of the matter is we use group economics when we go to clubs, when we go to restaurants, when we go on vacations. We need to start bringing that type of energy into taking ownership. And that's how Black Wall Street is created.
Yeah.
That's how we make a difference. That's how we have an impact. That's how we create and leave a legacy.
I couldn't agree more. I think about some of the questions that I get and some of my friends who are like, how are you investing and how are you doing it? And I don't have, $50,000. One of my investments that is actually Oprah backed was $2,500.
Yeah.
I'm either going to eat that
Yeah.
because my fat behind my
We
big
got
bag I'm backing. I'm still working on it.
We
I'm
ain't
still
good.
working. I'm going to eat that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm going to go on vacation for $2,500.
Yep.
That's a bag.
Yep.
That's some shoes.
Yep.
Or I can take this $2,500 and invest it into this particular company with
Absolutely.
20 people.
Absolutely.
And then I just set it and forget it. And then when they get acquired, knock on wood,
Yeah.
then that's money that I make for zero work that I had to do.
So that's always interesting to me because I think, yes, I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with you. But I think that in our community, because the lack of education or the lack of financial literacy,
Sure.
we don't have an idea of what a good return is.
Mm-hmm.
I gave you $2,500. Now, let's say it takes you 10 years to give me $250,000 and you had to do absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's a good return. I personally think it's a good return.
It's a great return. I didn't have to do anything.
I personally
Matter of fact,
feel
I
that
forgot
way.
about it.
Right. I forgot about it.
I forgot
This is
about
money that I waste every year
Yeah.
that I forgot. However, sometimes when we bring what we believe to be reputable opportunities to our community,
Right.
it's like, well, how long is it going to take for me to get my $2,500 back?
It takes 8 to 10 years to become an overnight success.
There we go.
So, as much as I would love to continue talking about real estate, I want to talk about something else that I love that you're also working on. What was the transition from doing real estate and then adding Amazon e-commerce?
So the biggest difference for me, real estate, Amazon e-commerce, is when I gave the first credit to my dad. I'm gonna give this credit to my mom. So my mom's passion always was, oh, I love Jeff Bezos. I'm getting me an online store. I'm going. You know what? I want to make money in my sleep. I'm getting me an online
Really?
store.
Come on, Mama.
So mom actually gave me. She goes, look, I think my son's smart. He's gonna figure this out for me.
Yeah.
So what I did was I put my capital up and I started my own Amazon store, and I said, okay, cool, let me figure this business out where I can make a passive income, right? But okay, as I started to make a passive income, I started to understand the holes in my business and going back to teams and building infrastructure, because infrastructure is what people invest in. I don't need you to invest in me. I need you to invest in the infrastructure that I've built. You're gonna invest in the company, you're gonna invest in the team. You're not investing into Nigel. So what we did was, I have a business partner out here in LA. We built a 50,000 square foot warehouse out here in Los Angeles where we build, manage, and scale your Amazon business, where you can focus on the many ways that you produce and make income on a day-to-day basis. But we can be in addition to that. And that's what I do with Amazon.
It's interesting to me that sometimes we think inspiration has to come from like some heavenly place or lightning strike. A lot of times as entrepreneurs, we are solving our own problems or lightning strikes from an idea or a concept that someone near us has. But the difference is, and this honestly goes for anyone who's listening, if you think that there's no space for you in a particular industry, or you think that someone's going to copy your idea and you're afraid of starting, two things. One, nobody is you, so they can't put their sauce on it.
Right on.
And the second thing is, I don't really care if someone tries to steal my ideas, because you can't implement like me.
Not at all.
You're not going to work like me.
Not at all.
The amount of people who quit, I think they say, I think they said 90% of podcasts quit before the 3rd episode. So 90% of people don't even make it to the 20th episode. And like, if you make it to episode 21, you're in the 1%.
Wow.
So even if someone were to take your idea, the chances of them actually continuing to execute at a very high level is essentially 0. And I said that because I think about your mom and then you implementing.
Absolutely.
And people would assume, but Nigel, it's a market that's oversaturated.
Yeah.
Everyone has an Amazon store.
Yeah.
Everyone, wants to build the warehouse. What would you say to the person who has an idea or a thought but just won't implement because it's oversaturated?
Yeah, I don't look at any of these industries as oversaturated. I look at this as really hard work, right? I think that what I've done a really good job at is really just finding partners. So when I started this business, I know that I like to be on the business development side. I'm already doing investor relations on the real estate side of the business, and I already have friends that make good money. People with good money want to place money in places that they can make more money. Right? They want to start to buy their time back. So what I saw with Amazon, or what I see with some of these businesses that feel oversaturated, what problems are we solving for? And that can be your core competency in your business, which can be different than any other business. In the case of Amazon, there's $578 billion that Amazon made selling online last year. Of the $578 billion made, $274 billion is made from third-party sellers. Most of the third-party sellers that are selling on Amazon are actually just selling a white-labeled product. So it could be a coffee mug, it could be a trash can, it could be a T-shirt. Whatever it is that they're most passionate about, they're putting their own spin, their own twist on it. In the case of my business, yes, we do create third-party stores. What we do is we just leverage what's already happening, right? Clorox bleach is going to market their bleach every single day. Colgate's going to market their deodorant, their toothpaste every single day. So if these products are already selling 2, 3, 4, 5 million units per month, do we have the ability to capture 10,000 units of market share per product throughout our stores? If the answer is yes, and can we take advantage of the arbitrage of the marketing that they're already doing, spending millions and millions of dollars, influencers, affiliates, all of this stuff is already happening. So what I did was I adapted my business model to, you guys are doing a good job over here. If I can get 10,000 units per product per store, then I can make some money.
So this is kind of how I operate in my business, or this is the way that I think about money, and I could be wrong, so let me know. It's a safe space, I promise. I think about how much money I spend on Amazon. And it's embarrassing.
It can be.
And this is how I thought about when I bought Amazon shares, is as much money as I spend.
Sure.
I know that I'm going to use my Radiant red bottle of Colgate toothpaste.
Yep.
That's the only one that I buy.
Yep.
How much of that am I buying?
Correct.
I know my deodorant doesn't change. It's my Dove sensitive, and I shouldn't be giving free shout outs, but hopefully, Dove, let's get a partnership here. But I think about the things that I purchase. And sometimes even as in investing, we're overthinking what to invest in.
Every time.
But I invest in what I understand, and I invest in the products that I know are long-standing.
Correct.
For example, Microsoft isn't going anywhere. So if I bought shares today, obviously don't buy at a high, buy it when it's low.
Yep.
But I have shares in the market and companies that I'm a continual consumer in, and I know is low risk because they've been around forever. And the way that I ended up buying shares of Amazon is because I was like, sis, you are buying so much. Amazon ain't going nowhere because of me alone. I'm looking at my neighbor's house. They got Amazon packages every day. I'm looking at so-and-so's house. They have Amazon packages every day. And so one of the ways that I think that people can invest is, especially if you don't know where to go in the market, is find things that are low risk and find the things that you're already purchasing. So with that being said, let's say I want an Amazon store and I don't know what products to put in.
Sure.
Or I don't know if I have the money to invest in an Amazon store or to invest with Nigel. To be honest, it's not really true, because if I can buy Jordans,
correct,
I can buy stocks.
You can buy stocks, correct.
If I can buy Amazon, then I either need to buy stocks or invest with a Nigel who can help me build this thing out. What is the process like building with you, and what are the benefits?
Yeah, totally. So I think that I love numbers, right? I think you just broke down some really important numbers. So I think Amazon has about 148 or 200 million Prime members in the United States alone. Of those Prime members, on average, the Prime member spends $91 per month. So you can do the math. 200 million Prime members, $91 per month.
That's
Amazon's
crazy.
doing really well. You can be a part of this on the consumer side, or you can be a part of selling and being able to take some profit with and alongside Amazon, because they take their fees as well. But what we've been able to do, what I would recommend for anyone that's interested in the business, is look at the trajectory and look at how Amazon's grown. In 2008, we always talk about this as a financial crisis, but for whatever reason, Jeff Bezos doesn't see it that way. Whatever happened in COVID, right, when all the stores started to shut down and we see 99 cents only, 7-Eleven, you name it, right? Some of your favorite brands and some of your favorite stores are starting to downsize. Amazon's growing. Again, just look at the charts, right? So you're talking about stocks, and you're talking about how, like, hey, look at what the stocks are doing. Amazon is still going up as a hockey stick. When you look at the growth in the way that these investor reports are going, and I think that you and I know that whenever you're making different investments and you have the opportunity to look at some of these different public companies, read the investor report. Where does Jeff Bezos plan on taking the company next? If Amazon is going to go from, when we know back in the day, it took multiple days, 2-day shipping with a thing. We said, oh my God, we can get this product in 2 days. It's amazing. Then it became 1-day shipping. Now it's same-day shipping, right? If you order between these times, because now we're playing with the psychological aspect of order now, because they can get it to you whenever they want to. Order now. If you order between these times, we'll get it to you by 8 p.m. tonight. It's probably a pretty safe place for your money to have a store or invest in stocks with Amazon. What we've done a really good job of, and there's other technologies out there, is we built a proprietary technology to our business that allows us to know what are the fast-moving products. What products are going to be here due to seasonality that we want to invest more in and put into more of the stores we manage today? What products are more or less getting high reviews? What products aren't sitting in our warehouse because we have a warehouse? We can see where products are coming in and out. But then to your other point, it came down to partnerships and teams. See, in my warehouse, UPS comes every day, USPS comes every day, FedEx comes every day. See, all the stuff they post on social media of, oh my gosh, I'm making all this money on Amazon. Yeah, but there's work that needs to be done. When you get 1,000 orders, which we got this morning, you get 1,000 orders, you have to take those products into somewhere to deliver that order. Except with us, because we have these logistic partners, they come to us. The orders come in, we grab the item off the shelf, and UPS comes right in and they pick it up and they deliver it for us.
Is this a business model that if I'm Sarah and I find Nigel and I really want to work with you and I want to be a part of this, Amazon e-commerce boom that we're in right now, do I need to come up with a business model, or is that something that, walk me through the process of what it's like starting with you, working with you?
So it's a done for you model. So what we do is we'll help you establish your LLC. We'll recommend that you start a business bank account, because this is where Amazon is going to deposit the money, because they paid you, they don't pay us. But then after we get you your LLC and we get your business bank account in place, then what we do is we prepare those documents to help you get approved to be able to sell on Amazon, because there has to be an approval process. Jeff ain't just letting everybody who say they want to sell some water bottles on Amazon just approve them. That's just not how that works. But we walk you through and give you the highest propensity to get approved based off our infrastructure, which is the key. Once we get you approved to sell on Amazon, the next step for us is our data and our analytics team, they're going to go through, they're going to do the research, they're going to use our products, they're going to use our technology, they're going to use the AI to understand what happens next. Now that we understand what products are going to be selling for the next 2 to 3 months, the next step for us is to reach out to our wholesalers, going back to the relationships. We have wholesalers, we have retailers, we have suppliers nearby us and online that we know that we can contact to get products in our warehouse for you, for your business. Once we do that stage, the products come in, we want to evaluate, we want to look at the products. Are they what they said they were going to be? Are they damaged? Because I don't want to ship you a damaged product. If I ship you a damaged product, now I failed you, and I'm failing on my responsibility to manage your business. Once the product's in, we do the quality control and the quality check. We take pictures of the products, we market the products. Then the piece that a lot of people forget is, oh, just because you're approved to sell on Amazon, you have to get approved from the actual manufacturer to sell the product. That process can be quite a bit if you have a relationship. But once we get the final approval to sell that product on Amazon, then we start to market your products on the Amazon platform to be able to help you sell your products. But I think that, going back to what I said a little earlier, a lot of people don't realize that this takes time. That process that I just explained takes us at least 90 days to stand up your business, which is quick. If you're building out a brick and mortar store and had to hire people and had to go sign a lease and had to go put up money and you had to do the work yourself, probably wouldn't be 90 days. But you start to see your first sale around day 90. After you start to see your first sale, then you have to get reviews. Once you get a few reviews, and now it's understood that you have a business, you can deliver on time, you blah, 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 right, more or less. The fact of the matter is, then Amazon starts to give you a flow. They give you more customers, and then you start to see your business start to grow. And now you have a business as opposed to a hustle.
You just made me think of something.
What's that?
And this is something that I see on social media. I'm seeing it a lot right now, and it's a lot of the conversations that I'm watching people have. What I love about your business model is you've taken the guesswork out of it.
Correct.
You also are very, and one of the things that I love about you as well is the fact that you are very honest and transparent and realistic about how much time something takes.
Always.
I'm watching these conversations, and I've had these conversations as well, where folks don't actually want to be entrepreneurs.
No.
They want to be founders.
Correct.
The amount of time and process entrepreneurship takes, it's daunting, it's challenging, you're not sure if this is going to work, and you don't know when it's going to work. You don't even know if it's going to work. You are banking on your hard work and a hell of a lot of confidence that you're going to get to the point where you start being profitable. And, as entrepreneurs, we're having these conversations internally with our own friends of, oh, I have this idea and this concept and this product. I have a, CPG, I have a tech product, I have a SaaS product, but I don't want to do marketing.
Right.
I don't want to do sales.
Yep.
I don't have the bandwidth or the time to run and operate this thing. Walk me through the advice you would give to someone who's like, I want to become an entrepreneur, but then you realize, no, you really want to be a founder
You wanna be a
and
founder.
put your name on it,
Yep.
but you don't actually want to do this.
No.
And people lie to themselves.
Yeah, I think it's the most misunderstood word, phrase, role that exists, right? I think that first off, you're wearing multiple hats, and I talked a little bit about on the last the last podcast, This One Man, when I first had a job and I went into the office, I wanted to understand what it was like to wear multiple hats, right? I sat with the CEO of the company because I realized he walks in the office at 6 a.m. So I need to be there at 5:50, 5:55. I need to understand what he's reading. Why is he reading this? When you read this, what's your perspective when you read this, right? When you read the newspaper, what are you looking for? When you how do you know when to hire? What do you know? What's a P&L? What are you looking for in your P&L?
Yeah.
What's growth look like? Or is there even an opportunity for us to do competitive selling, right? How do we overtake our competitors? What makes us different there? Then I'm going to go meet with the CMO. How do we market this product? This isn't a sexy product. We're selling B2B. Who do we want to market to? How do we geo-fence and make sure that we're in their way so that they can't get around us?
Yeah.
Is it videos? Is it blogs? Is it newsletters? Is it case studies? How do we get our customers to give us case studies? Customer success. What does customer success look like? Because if you're selling a SaaS product and now you get this monthly recurring revenue or annual recurring income, that customer is really important to your business, especially if you need to go out and go raise more capital.
Yeah.
What's the churn rate? Then on the sales side, who are we selling to? Why are we selling to? Who's our ideal customer profile? How do we align our resources from sales to marketing to operations to growth as far as people?
Yeah.
What type of technology are we using? Is the internet fast enough because we're selling over Zoom? When do we travel? What conferences do we go to? All of this stuff matters. The difference is, as an entrepreneur, I just named 3, 4, 5 different roles. That's you. You're that person.
Yeah.
It's your job.
Yeah.
You need to do this. You need to be marketing. You need to be sales. You need to think about growth. You need to figure out when to hire. And you still need to make money.
Right. We didn't even talk
You
about
still
that
need to
yet.
make money. After all of this work that you're doing, you need to make money.
Yep.
How do you do that?
Yeah. It's I'm glad you named it all because it is such an overwhelming scenario. I remember so for me, my first introduction was I was 17. My dad had a business and I said I would never become an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Smart.
I worked really smart. I watched how hard he worked and I was like, oh, hell no, that is not for me. Then I fast forward, many years later and I realized that one, I love being an entrepreneur and I love business, but the language of business was a different beast. And so sometimes folks will go into business or become an entrepreneur and you get there and you realize you don't know diddly squat.
No.
Why is it important to study the language of business, the language of money, and how business operates? Because we are wearing, I could not afford to pay 10 different people. I'm 9, 10 years into my career now, 5 of them full time, but now there's a team that handles just social media.
Correct.
There's a team that handles just sales and operations. There's a team that handles the other businesses in the different spaces that I'm in, because I realized there was no way I could scale fast enough or scale if I ran every part of my business. But I had no business if I did not learn how to even manage and lead every position because I had to do it.
Sure. I think you can pick any case study or any story you want to tell, whether it's Yahoo versus Google, whether it's Blockbuster versus Netflix, right? And even in my role, right, in the businesses that I occupy today, I've probably been fired more than anyone that I've ever met in the corporate world. It's just like, man, every time someone's asked me to do this, I'm like, man, look, y'all ain't paying me for all that. You know what I mean? Because I know the kind of margins that are coming into these different businesses. But now what I do is I fire myself in my business. So I understand I pride myself on being self-aware, right? I really pride myself on, do I really think I'm the best salesperson in the world? Like, I'm the only person that can sell this. Okay, cool. Well, let me go back to the drawing board and understand, why do people buy from me? Like, have you listened to why do your customers actually buy from you?
Yeah.
Okay, now that you understand that, is there someone that can spend 100% of their time focusing on these attributes that can make you more successful? Use the example of social media. I think where we are in the world today with the internet, right now we have a global economy where we can now work with people in Spain, work with people in India, Philippines, so on and so forth, that can now assist you at a nominal cost, which will probably help you turn profitability faster, because it is important for us to learn. It is important for us to put ourselves out of business. It is important for us to fire ourselves and find someone else that can think about our business in the same way every single day, while we're focusing on growing, learning, building, festering these relationships, finding more opportunities to be able to grow this behemoth of a business.
I'm glad that you said that, because you have to fire yourself from certain positions.
Absolutely.
I had a particular founder that wanted to work with me, and she asked me my advice. And the first thing I said to her is, you need to fire yourself as CEO.
Yep.
She never talked to me after that.
Usually.
I have found, in my opinion, in my experience, that sometimes founders do not make great CEOs.
I agree.
If you are a creative, create.
Yep.
If you sew. If you are a software engineer, engineer. Why do you think it's important that we fire ourselves from different positions without ego, to understand that you don't have a business? If you're the only person that can do what you think well, you do not have a business.
Yeah. I look at it self-employed versus business owner, right? I think a lot of people are self-employed, and I think that social media today shows you self-employed. One of my favorite entrepreneurs or business moguls that I like today is really Kevin Hart, right? How many things can Kevin Hart put his hands in? Now, if we think that Kevin Hart is shooting 2, 3, 4, 7 movies per year, TV shows, podcast interviews, comedy shows, and if you really think he's running this day-to-day, all day, every day, you're out of your mind.
Yeah.
But he's a business owner. Yeah. He's a visionary, and then he finds he can evaluate talent, or someone on his team can evaluate talent to say, hey, look, this person may be better appointed to solve that problem than you. Doesn't mean that they don't have culture or they have infrastructure where they're saying, hey, look, this final decision goes to Kevin, but he's trusted people, and he's surrounded himself around individuals that can help him build his brand and further his career, which probably makes him more money, because this person can focus on this every day, usually for a salary. You can bonus him as well, but then you can go do some other things that are going to make you the money that you're paying this person.
Right. Because we talk about having 7, everyone says, have 7 streams of income.
Yeah.
I can't run 7 streams of income, though. Help me.
So that's probably another one of the biggest misconceptions, right? I think that the skill is actually focus. So even when you look at the 2 businesses that I'm involved in, being e-commerce and real estate, I do the same job. So I looked at Jay-Z probably, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years ago, and he's like, okay, I have Rock Nation, but he himself is the brand. He's bringing talent. You want to be associated with Jay-Z. What he's done with the NFL and the Super Bowl, you want to be associated with Jay-Z. Everyone says it, right? They're like, I'm gonna do the Super Bowl halftime show. Oh, what happened? Hove called. I'm not diluting the work that he does. What I'm saying is, he can go into a room and he can carry the flag for 7 different incomes by being a brand, being himself, being Jay-Z, and have infrastructure around him that allows him to show up as him while all these different things are happening. While I'm here with you right now, I have 15 people in my warehouse making sure that those packages are getting delivered on time. While I'm here with you right now, my business partner, we actually just finished a call, my business partner is actually in the community right now, meeting with enterprise and making sure that we have everything we need for our funding to be able to produce for the next project that we're going to produce.
You just mentioned that you can run multiple businesses because you're still playing the same role in every single one of them. And so I think that's actually I'm going to steal that, because I work in 7 different industries, but I play the same role in every single one of them. And one of the questions that I get asked a lot is, how do I balance between my personal brand, e-commerce stuff that I do, now I'm in real estate, my VC meetings that I have, and I'm a mom. How do you balance your real estate with the e-commerce investments, and then what criteria do you use to decide what your day-to-day is going to look like?
Yeah, the first thing I do is I listen. That's it. I listen to you. So, yeah, okay, I have real estate to offer you, right? I have e-commerce opportunities to offer you. One of my better friends he's a fund manager for $500 million fund, and I really have VC deals I can offer you as well. One of my other better friends, he's a tax advisor, right? At the end of the day, I like to be ingratiated into my friends' businesses as well as mine, and if I can listen to you and I can understand your needs, and I learned this from sales, right? I've learned that from listening to the CEO, CMO, sales, customer success, my customers, really understanding where you want to go. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do business with me, but it allows me to be able to leverage my relationships and my teams to be able to put you in a position to get exactly what you want. And The old saying, and I've been saying this like over the last 2 weeks, that a lot of the old sayings that we've heard when we were younger and as we go through life, they actually really stand true. They came from somewhere. But the fact of the matter is, if you can help people get what they want, at the end of the day, you'll always get what you want. And at the end of the day, I want to have impact. I want to leave legacy. I want to get what I want by seeing people like yourself, my friends, my family, people that I don't know, strangers that are going to watch this today, be able to have impact and be able to know that they can, and that they can work with their friends. They can make money with their friends. They can build businesses. They can be successful. They can learn more. And it doesn't mean that it has to happen today.
Right.
One thing that my closest friends and I talk about all the time, being a former athlete, we put these timelines on ourselves. We're like, all right, cool. The season ended in March. By next October, I need to be able to shoot from a 35% three-point shooter to a 40% three-point shooter. Those timelines don't really exist. Can I go from 35 to 36 over the course of 24 to 2025? Can I get better? Can I learn more? Did I get better today? Right? What I do when I set up my day, to your point, when you ask, hey, look, when you're setting up your day, how do you prioritize your day? How do you know that you had a good day yesterday? How do you know you had a good week, a good month? I scored each day. Each day, I set an agenda of what I want to accomplish that day, and I scored that day. And if I had 10 things I wanted to do that day, and I only did 8, I got an 80%. I got a B. Tomorrow, I got an A. The next day, I got a C. Then you average that score over the course of a week, and I can look at my weeks. I can look at my days. B, C, A, B, A, C. And I can grade myself as a student. We learned all these principles in school that we choose to neglect today. Why don't we rate our day? Why don't we rate our week? Why don't we rate our month? Why don't we do an audit every quarter? Why don't we do an audit or semi-annually? Why don't we do an audit every year and say, I got better. I had a good day. I'm closer to my goals. And I think that when we take those timelines off, when we actually be as intentional as we possibly can be on that day, on that week, on that year, then I think that we'll see the growth and we'll hit the results that we want to hit.
One last question, this time I promise. What would you say to someone who's looking at our step 50 and they're at step 5 or 10 and they're like, I don't know if this is for me, or I don't know if I'm gonna make it because I'm not where they are and they're playing the competitive game? What would you say to that person?
So there's uniqueness about all of us. I think that, there's all been times, I like to use fitness, right? There's been times where we've fallen out of shape, but typically when we fall out of shape, we didn't fall out of shape in one day. We fell out of shape because we were inconsistent over a period of time. So no different than when I post my social media content, right? You may have 200 views, 200 views, 2,000 views, 20,000 views, 200,000 views, 2 million views, but it's a combination. So what I like to, again, when I'm grading my day, but when I'm grading my week, when I'm grading my month, I'm looking at how many lives was I able to impact over the course of this day, this week. If you stop posting, say you get 2,000 views per day, but you stop posting, those numbers go down. But if you keep posting, those numbers add up, and the impact that you can have adds up. One of my favorite movies is Pay It Forward. The reason why it's one of my favorite movies is the impact that one person can have on 3 lives, and then those 3 people can have impact on 3 more lives. That's a spiral effect. That's planting seeds that are going to be able to grow. You have to keep going. As a matter of fact, a girl that I used to date probably 5 years ago, what she told me is, in the case of social media, keep posting. Keep posting. No. Keep posting. Why do you say that? I'm not getting the results I want. There's somebody watching. And you're having an impact on someone's life just because they're not reaching out to you and they're telling you that you're having an impact on their life. You're having an immediate impact on their life. And they probably wanted to quit. They probably wanted to take their life today. But because you kept going, they're going to fight another day. You have to keep going. Day 5 to day 50, you're 45 days away from your goal.
Nigel, thank you so much for being here. I'm actually going to make a promise in this episode. 2025, we're going to come back and have this conversation.
Let's do it.
See how far the business has evolved, how you've evolved, and then also that way we can announce that I put in a drop in the bucket for the projects that you're working on for 2025 because I said I was friend. So I'm calling myself out and holding myself accountable in this episode.
Absolutely.
Nigel, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. I appreciate you.